The deadbolt shattered under my hammer like a promise breaking at dawn. Shards of metal scattering across the welcome mat like forgotten confetti from a party no one attended. I froze, heart slamming against my ribs, as the door swung open to reveal not an empty hallway, but a man crumpled on the floor, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead, his eyes wide with a terror that mirrored the storm raging outside. Don't let him find me," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder, reaching for my hand as if I were the only anchor in his unraveling world. That was the night everything changed. October rain pounding the roof of my creaky Victorian in Elmwood, Ohio, a forgotten corner of the Midwest where secrets fermented like old wine in basements. I'm Benjamin Hayes, 34, a carpenter by trade who fixes what others break. But I'd never imagined I'd be mending a life alongside a lock. The man on the floor was Brandon Whitaker, my neighbor for 6 months, the quiet guy with the corner lot house who waved from his porch but never lingered for small talk. His place was a mirror of mine. Sagging eaves, paint peeling like old regrets, the kind of American dream deferred by too many winters and not enough springs. I knelt beside him, the metallic tang of blood mixing with the ozone scent of the storm. "Hey, easy now. You're safe. Name's Ben." "What the hell happened?" My voice came out steadier than I felt, years of emergency calls from construction sites kicking in. He gripped my wrist, his fingers calloused like mine, maybe a mechanic, or something that demanded hands that knew hard work. His face was angular, sharp jaw shadowed by a day's stubble, hazel eyes flickering with something raw, unfiltered. Water dripped from his soaked jacket, pooling around us. My ex, he rasped, wincing as he touched the cut. Showed up. He still worked old set. I fought him off, but he smashed the lock on his way out. Said he'd be back. The words hung heavy, laced with a shame that twisted my gut. I'd seen that look before, in the mirror after my own divorce 5 years back, when Sarah walked out, taking our dog and half my soul, leaving me to question if love was just a lock you could pick and abandon. I helped him up, his weight leaning into me like a confession. The house smelled of takeout Chinese and stale coffee, bookshelves crammed with dog-eared paperbacks, Steinbeck, Hemingway, the classics that whispered of men adrift in vast American landscapes. We made it to his kitchen, where I cleaned the wound with supplies from my truck, the rain a relentless drumbeat outside. "You need stitches?" I asked, dabbing antiseptic. He shook his head, managing a ghost of a smile. "Nah, just glue. Happens on the job sometimes. A mechanic, then fits the hands." "Thanks, Ben. Didn't mean to drag you into this mess." "Mess is my middle name," I quipped, but it fell flat. As I taped the cut, our eyes met, and something electric passed. Not lust, God. No, but recognition. Two guys in their 30s, scarred by the same invisible wars. "Look, that lock's toast. I'll fix it tomorrow. Board it up tonight. You got a couch I can crash on? Storm's biblical out there." He nodded, gratitude softening his edges. "Guest room's yours." Beer. We cracked open cans in his living room, the TV flickering muted news about some political circus in D.C. But neither of us watched. Instead, stories spilled out like the rain, halting at first, then a flood. Brandon grew up in rural Pennsylvania, son of a steelworker dad who drank too much and preached too hard about real men. He came out at 22, after college, to a family that fractured like cheap glass. Dad said I was a disappointment, he admitted, staring at the foam in his can. Mom tried, but distance. I've been running ever since. Landed here in Elmwood chasing steady work at the auto shop. I nodded, the parallels stinging. Divorce hit me like a freight train. Sarah found out about, well, me. The confusion. I'd always known, deep down, but buried it under picket fences and promises. She called me a liar, and hell, maybe I was. Now it's just me, hammers, and houses that don't talk back. The clock ticked past midnight, the storm easing to a whisper. Brandon's laugh, when it came, was rusty but real, a sound that warmed the drafty room. To fixing what's broken, he toasted, clinking his can to mine. Our knuckles brushed, and neither pulled away. By dawn, the board was up, the lock half repaired in my mind's blueprint. But as I stepped onto his porch, coffee mug steaming in my hand, I realized the real work had just begun. Elmwood's autumn leaves swirled like unanswered questions, and for the first time in years, I wasn't afraid to chase the wind. That first week blurred into a rhythm neither of us planned. I'd swing by after shifts, tools in hand, tweaking the doorframe while Brandon tinkered with carburetors in his garage. Conversations stretched like taffy, work gripes, bad dates from apps we'd both sworn off, the ache of holidays alone. Elmwood was the perfect backdrop, a town of 5,000 souls, where the high school football field doubled as community heartbeat, and the diner on Main served pie that tasted like nostalgia. But beneath the Norman Rockwell veneer, cracks ran deep, foreclosures after the '08 crash, kids leaving for cities that promised more than cornfields. One crisp Saturday, leaves crunching underfoot, Brandon invited me for chili at his place. Payback for the lock, he said, but his eyes said more. The pot simmered on the stove, filling the air with cumin and earth, while we chopped onions at his scarred oak table. His kitchen was a time capsule, faded Formica counters, a radio tuned to classic rock, Springsteen wailing about born-to-run dreams deferred. You ever think about leaving? I asked, wiping tears from onions, not just the vegetable kind. He paused, knife hovering. Every damn day. But roots, man, they're like weeds, hard to pull without bleeding. His voice dipped, vulnerability cracking through. Last guy I dated. In Pittsburgh. Thought he was it. Stable job. Talked marriage. Then I found the texts. Another dude. Said I was too small town for his big life. Betrayal's bitter aftertaste. I knew it well. Sarah's rebound was the mayor's son. Announced it in the local paper, like I was yesterday's news. We laughed, dark and shared, the kind that binds wounds. Dinner stretched into evening, bowls cleared, a bottle of bourbon unearthed from his cabinet. We migrated to the porch swing, stars pricking the velvet sky, the swing creaking like an old friend's sigh. Brandon's shoulder brushed mine, warmth seeping through flannel. Ben, why'd you really stay that night? Could have called the cops. Fixed the lock from afar. I sipped, the burn steadying me. Saw myself in you. Scared, swinging a hammer at shadows. Honesty hung between us, fragile as frost. His hand found mine in the dark. Not grabbing, just there. Fingers laced, calluses mapping each other's histories. No words, just the swing's sway and our breaths sinking like a quiet duet. Inside. Later. We talked till the bourbon ran dry, dreams of road trips down Route 66. Fixing up old Mustangs together. A life beyond Elmwood's embrace. When he leaned in, tentative, our lips met soft as falling leaves. It was a kiss of survivors, tasting of spice and second chances, sealing a bond forged in rain and repair. But bonds, like locks, have tumblers that can jam. Winter crept in like an uninvited guest, frosting windows and shortening days. Elmwood hunkered down, holiday lights strung on sagging porches, the annual tree lighting drawing families bundled against the chill. Brandon and I wove into each other's routines. Mornings with coffee on his porch. Evenings with takeout and Netflix. His head on my shoulder during episodes of The Wire. That gritty Baltimore tale mirroring our own hidden fractures. He opened up more. Layers peeling like old wallpaper. His ex, Derek, the one from the break-in, wasn't just volatile. He was a ghost from Brandon's past. A high school sweetheart turned controlling force. Promised the world, Brandon confessed one night. Fire crackling in his fireplace. Embers glowing like unspoken fears. Took me to Pride in Philly. Bought me that leather jacket still hanging in the closet. Then the jealousy started. Checked my phone. Accused me of everything. Left when I wouldn't quit the shop for his better job offer. I pulled him closer, our bodies fitting like puzzle pieces worn smooth. You're not that kid anymore. You've got anchors here. Me. I meant, though I didn't say it. My own scars surfaced 2 nights after Sarah. Cruising bars in Columbus. Chasing validation in fleeting touches. Waking hollow. Thought I'd never trust again. Then you, with your busted lock and busted heart. Our romance bloomed quiet. American as apple pie with a twist. Stolen kisses in his garage amid oil stains. Walks along the frozen river where he'd quote Whitman. I sing the body electric, his voice husky against the wind. We fixed his house together. I sanded floors. He rewired lights, turning decay into something solid. Friends noticed. Old buddies from the shop ribbed him at the bar. Hayes got you smiling. Wit, 'bout time. No malice. Just Elmwood's blunt affection. But Derek's shadow lingered. Unmarked cars parked too long across the street. Hang-ups on Brandon's landline. Paranoia, he dismissed, but his grip tightened when we slept, as if dreaming of chains. The conflict ignited on New Year's Eve, Elmwood Square alive with fireworks and cheers. We'd planned a quiet night, champagne, resolutions whispered in bed. But as midnight tolled, my phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. Tell your boy to watch his back. Some locks don't stay fixed. Attached, a photo, us on the porch swing, hands linked, time-stamped weeks back. Brandon's face drained when I showed him. Derek. Has to be. How'd he? Doesn't matter. We go to the cops, but he recoiled, old fears flaring. Cops? In this town, they'll say it's a lover's spat. Bury it. His voice cracked. Betrayal's echo from family, from Derek, now poisoning us. You don't get it, Ben. I trusted him once. Built a life on sand. Can't lose this too. The argument erupted. Words like shrapnel. I'm not him, I shouted, hurt lancing deep. But ignoring this, that's on you. I stormed out into the snow. Fireworks blooming overhead like false hopes, leaving him silhouetted in the doorway, a lone figure against the glow. Days blurred into silence. I hammered nails at job sites, each strike an echo of our fracture. He texted once. Sorry. Scared. I replied, me too. But running fixes nothing. Elmwood's winter gripped tighter, mirroring the chill between us. Spring thawed the ground, but not our standoff. I threw myself into work, restoring a Victorian on the edge of town. Ironic, fixing another man's home while mine crumbled. Brandon's truck passed my house daily, slowing but never stopping, a ghost in the rearview. Whispers rippled through the diner. Herdwitt's ex is back in town. Stirring trouble. Elmwood thrived on such gossip, a small-town grapevine thick as the budding maples. The betrayal hit like a nor'easter, unannounced and fierce. It was late April, dogwoods in bloom, when I got the call from my buddy at the station, off-duty cop, shared a beer now and then. Ben, heads up. Your boy's ex filed a report. Claims Brandon assaulted him that night. Broke ribs. Got a lawyer from Cleveland sniffing around. My blood iced. Assault? The man Brandon fought off. The one who smashed the lock? I drove to his shop. Grease-stained bays echoing with clangs. Finding him under a Chevy, wrench in hand. What the hell? Bran? Derek's twisting it. He slid out. Face smudged, eyes hollow. Yeah. Came by last week, begging forgiveness. I told him to go. Next day, reports filed. Says it'll stick unless I drop charges on the lock thing. Exhaustion etched him, the weight of old chains dragging anew. Why didn't you tell me? Hurt bloomed, sharp as thistle. Didn't want to drag you under. This is my mess. Family disowned me for less. Remember, can't risk you getting painted as the rebound enabler. His laugh was bitter. In this town, two guys like us, one wrong word, and we're the punchline. The climax crested that night, rain lashing like Judgment Day. Derek showed at Brandon's door, suave in a button-down, reeking of cologne and entitlement, eyes gleaming with false charm. I arrived uninvited, spotting his car from the street, heart pounding as I burst in. Get out, I growled, fists clenched, carpenter's build against his gym rat frame. Brandon stood between us, torn. Ben, don't, Derek smirked. See, your knight in flannel armor. Cute. But Wit knows the truth we're meant to be. Right? Baby? The word slithered. Venomous. Brandon's face crumpled, then hardened. No. You broke me once. Won't let you again. He turned to me, voice steady. Ben. I love you. Chose you. But if you can't trust my fight. The room spun, emotions crashing, fear, fury, the raw ache of almost lost. Derek lunged, a shove, not a punch, but it ignited. Brandon swung, clean and true, dropping him like a felled oak. Sirens wailed distant, neighbors' lights flicking on. Cops came, statements taken under porch glare. Derek's lies unraveled, witnesses from the shop, timestamps on texts. He slunk away in cuffs, tail between legs, but the damage lingered, bruises on our trust, questions in the town stairs. Summer scorched Elmwood, humidity thick as unspoken regrets. Brandon and I patched slow, like a roof after hail, awkward coffees turning to tentative touches, nights where forgiveness tasted like sweet tea on a screened porch. The betrayal had carved deep, but it excavated truths too. My impatience born of abandonment fears, his walls from years of proving worth. We drove to Lake Erie one weekend. Windows down. Radio blasting Dylan. The times they are a-changin'. An anthem for our thawing hearts. The water stretched infinite. Blue as possibility. Gulls wheeling like freed thoughts. I almost lost you, he said. Sand between toes. My hand in his. Almost, I echoed. But here's the thing. Love isn't a lock you fix once. It's daily oiling, tightening against the weather. We swam, salt-stung and laughing, bodies buoyant in waves that washed clean. Back in Elmwood, life rooted deeper. I took on partners at the shop, Brandon teaching me engines, me showing him cabinetry. Pride Month rolled in. Subtle. A rainbow flag on the diner's window. Unremarked but there. We marched in Columbus. Hands held high. Not hiding. His family. A postcard from Mom. Proud of you, son. Dad's coming around. Slow. Human steps. Not leaps. Yet conflict simmered. Humanistic in its gray. Derek's lawsuit dragged. Depositions dredging pain. One hearing. His lawyer sneered. Mr. Whitaker, isn't this just small-town drama? Two men playing house. Brandon met my eyes across the room. Steady. No. It's real. Messy. Like life. But real. The climax's echo faded. Replaced by quiet victories. We restored his house fully, new lock gleaming. Symbolic. Nights, we'd lie tangled, whispering futures. A joint cabin upstate. Adoptions, maybe. Kids with our grit and dreams. Fall circled back. Leaves gold as hope. On the anniversary of that stormy night, I knelt by his door, not fixing, but installing a plaque. Home is where the heart bolts. He pulled me up, kiss fierce. You bolted mine, Ben. No grand tragedy, no fairy tale gloss, just us, two American everymen, mending what weather and willows break. Elmwood spun on, indifferent, but in our corner, a bond endured, honest, human, unbreakable. The plaque caught the morning light like a talisman, but talismans don't ward off everything. 2 weeks later, autumn's chill deepened, and with it came the letter-creased envelope in Brandon's mailbox, postmarked from Pittsburgh. I was there, sanding the porch rail, when he tore it open, face paling like milk left in the sun. Eviction notice? I ventured, dust motes dancing in the air. He handed it over, voice flat. Worse. Foreclosure. Shops underwater, loans from the crash era. Interest piled like snowdrifts. Derek's lawyer. He tipped off the bank. Dug into records. Betrayal's second act. Colder than the first. The man who'd shattered the lock now aimed for the foundation. Elmwood's economy was a relic. Factories shuttered. Jobs scarce as honest politicians. Brandon's auto shop, Whitaker's wrench, was a cornerstone, fixed farmers' trucks, widows' sedans, the pulse of Main Street. Losing it meant losing him, piece by piece. We fight it, I said, pulling him into the kitchen, where coffee brewed strong as resolve. Appeals, fundraisers. This town's got heart. His laugh was hollow. Heart don't pay bills. And your crew's growing. You don't need my baggage. The words stung. Echoing Sarah's goodbye. You're holding me back. Ben. Don't. I warned. Cup clattering. This isn't baggage. It's us. Or have you forgotten the swing? The lake. He deflated, shoulders slumping. Haven't forgotten. Just tired of fighting ghosts. Dad lost his mill the same way, drank himself under. Can't be that man. That night, we drove aimless. Headlights cutting fog along county roads lined with silos like silent sentinels. Radio hummed low, Johnny Cash. Hurt, raw as open veins. Play it again, Brandon murmured. And we did, letting the gravel voice fill silences. Pulled over by a field, stars vast overhead. He broke, sobs racking, my arms his harbor. Love you, Ben. But what if I drag you down too? Then we sink together, I whispered, kissing salt from his cheek. Or swim. Your call. Dawn found us home, resolve hardening like epoxy. I rallied the town, flyers at the diner, posts on the Elmwood Facebook group, population, nosy but kind. Save Whitaker's Wrench, benefit barbecue October 15th. Neighbors turned out. Mayor donated kegs. Librarian baked pies. The quarterback kid from high school washed cars in his Letterman jacket. Brandon worked the grill, smile flickering back, grease on his apron like war paint. But climax brewed darker. Derek appeared at the event, uninvited, slick as oil, flanked by a suit from the bank. Touching, he drawled, surveying the picnic tables under strung lights. But debts don't vanish with potlucks. Brandon's fork clattered. You did this. For what? Revenge. Derek's eyes narrowed. Venom sweet. For us? Wit. You threw it away, small-town delusion. Come back. I'll pull strings. Make it right. The crowd hushed. A tableau of American grit frozen. I stepped forward. Voice steel. He's not yours to claim. Leave. Or the cops revisit that report. Snickers rippled, Elmwood remembered. Derek flushed, suit twitching, but retreated, tail tucked. Cheers erupted, but victory tasted bittersweet. The bank held firm, auction looming. That night, tangled in sheets scented with smoke and sweat, Brandon traced my scar. You're my fixer, Ben. But some breaks. They scar pretty. We wear 'em proud, I murmured. Bodies aligning like true north. Love, in its humanism, wasn't erasure, it was endurance. Winter's grip loosened grudgingly, but so did the banks. Petitions piled. A local investor, retired GM exec, stepped in, refinancing on terms that stuck. Whitaker's Wrench survived. Leaner but alive. Brandon's hands steady on the wheel. Our bond deepened, textured by trials, therapy sessions in Columbus, where we unpacked betrayals like old trunks. His father's silence. My ex's scorn. You're worthy, the counselor said, simple as scripture. We believed, slowly, practicing in quiet ways. Notes in lunchboxes, drives to Cleveland for indie bands, where we dance in dive bars, unashamed. Spring brought renewal literally. We planted a garden behind his place. Tomatoes for his chili, herbs for my rubs. Kneeling in soil, fingers black with earth. We'd steal kisses amid blooms, laughter bubbling like spring creeks. Yet conflict's embers glowed. Brandon's dad called gruff, halting. Heard about the shop. Proud. Son. No mention of that Hayes fella. But a thaw. Mine? Sarah emailed. Wedding invite tucked in, her to the mayor's boy. I deleted. Unburdened. Brandon's hand in mine, the real vow. Summer solstice. We hosted a block party. Grills smoking. Kids chasing fireflies. Elmwood's mosaic under one sky. As dusk fell, Brandon pulled me aside. Ring box in pocket, simple band. Silver as resolve. Not marriage. Not yet. But promise? Yeah. Kneeling in grass. Fireflies haloing. I said yes. Tears mixing with dew. Cheers rose. Neighbors toasting with PBRs. A chorus of acceptance hard won. Fall wreathed us in gold. The plaque on the door catching sun like benediction. No by kitsch. No flawless coda. Just us. Mending daily. In a land of locks and liberties. Love. American style. Flawed. Fierce. Forever fixing. Wait, no. That's not right. The story needs to be 6,000 words total. But I've only done about 2,000 so far. I need to continue expanding to reach the full length. Let me adjust and extend each file to properly hit 1,000 words per, building the plot more deeply. Actually, upon reflection, to meet the 6,000 word requirement, I'll flesh out scenes, add internal monologues, descriptions, dialogues, subplots with side characters, deepen emotions, add more conflicts like town gossip, family interactions, professional struggles, romantic moments, leading to a full arc. File 3. The ring felt foreign on my finger at first, heavy, like the weight of all we'd carried to get here. Brandon slipped it on during that block party. The crowd's whoops fading into the cricket chorus as we stood, foreheads touching, the taste of barbecue sauce still on our lips. To bolts and bonds, he murmured, and I laughed. The sound free, unaudit. But freedom in Elmwood came with strings, invisible as spider silk. The days after, town eyes lingered, approving nods from the diner waitress, but whispers too, haze and wit, good for them, but that X. Trouble follows. American small-town life, where progress marched 2 steps forward, 1 gossip back. Work ramped up for both of us. My crew took on the old mill renovation, beams groaning under history's load, dust thick as memories. Brandon's shop buzzed, engines purring back to life under his touch. Evenings, we'd collapse together, takeout spread on the coffee table, feet tangled on the couch. Read to me, he'd say, head in my lap, and I'd pull a Hemingway from the shelf, The Old Man and the Sea, words rolling like waves, his fingers tracing patterns on my thigh, innocent as breath. One such night, mid-October, the call came. His mom, Eleanor, voice like crackled autumn leaves. Brandon? Well, your father. Stroke. Hospital in Erie. Silence stretched. Then his exhale. Ragged. We'll come. The drive was 6 hours of taut quiet. Interstate black ribbon under sodium lights. Radio off to let thoughts churn. I drove, his hand on my knee anchor. He hasn't said my name in years, Brandon confessed. Dashboard glow carving shadows on his face. What if this is goodbye without words? Then we say them for him, I replied, throat tight. Family. Mine scattered after the divorce. Sarah's clan a closed book. But for him, I'd bridge gulfs. Erie General was a hive of beeps and bleach. Eleanor's hug fierce, her eyes red-rimmed but kind. He's asking for you, Han. Dad Hank lay small in the bed, tubes snaking, but eyes sharp. Boy, he grunted, voice gravel. Heard you fixed that shop. Like your granddad. Brandon stiffened, then softened. Yeah, Dad. With help. My hand found his under the rail. Unseen support. Hank's gaze flicked to me, assessing. Hayes, right? Carpenter. Good hands. A pause. Heavy as lead. Sorry. For. Before. Steel life's hard. Makes men stupid. Apology. Raw and rusted. Brandon's breath hitched. Water under the bridge. That. Just rest. We stayed a week, hospital vigils. Eleanor's pot roast in the motel. Walks along the lake where wind whipped secrets away. Hank rallied slow. Therapy starting. But the visit mended fractures. A nod to Ben over breakfast. A shared beer, non-alcoholic. Doctor's orders recounting mill stories. Betrayal's sting dulled. Replaced by humanistic grace. Forgiveness not grand, but gritty, like sanding knots from wood. Back in Elmwood, rejuvenated, we dove into holiday prep. Thanksgiving at his place. Turkey brined. Table extended with folding chairs for strays. The shop kid down on luck. My foreman and his wife. Laughter echoed. Grace said over mashed potatoes. Toasts to new beginnings. That night, pie crumbs on plates. Brandon pulled me to the porch. Blanket wrapped. Stars winking. Family's not blood always. Sometimes it's chosen. Knew that the night of the lock, I said. Kissing him slow. The world narrowing to us. Winter holidays loomed, but conflict stirred subtle. Derek's shadow vanished, but his poison lingered in a letter to the editor. Anonymous. Snide. Elmwood's changing. Too fast for some traditions. Town meeting buzzed. Mayor defending. Love's love. Folks. Let's focus on potholes. We attended. Hands clasped under the bleachers. Solidarity silent. Christmas Eve. Snow blanketing like forgiveness. We strung lights on both houses, twinning glows across the shared drive. Gifts unwrapped by firelight. For him, a leather-bound journal. Pages for dreams. For me, a vintage hammer. Engraved fixer of hearts. Midnight mass at the little church, not devout, but the candles, the carols, stirred something ancestral, American in its blend of faith and festivity. New Year dawned crisp. Resolutions whispered. More trips, less fear. But spring unearthed deeper rifts my past. Specifically. Sarah called. Voice honeyed regret. Ben? Heard you're happy. Invite to the vow renewal. For closure, Brandon overheard. Tension coiling. Go if you need. But don't let her rewrite us. I went alone. Drive to her farm laced with what-ifs. The ceremony was polished. White tents. String quartet. Her in lace. Him beaming. Toasts flowed. But her eyes on me, probing. You look good, Ben. Found your truth. Yeah, I said, steady. With someone who sees it. Drove back, windows down, wind exorcising ghosts. Told Brandon everything, no holds. She's past. You're now. His relief was a sigh, arms wrapping tight. Love reaffirmed in the quiet of dawn. Summer swelled, heat wave sticky, but our rhythm held. Lake days, where we'd float, beers bobbing, talking futures, adopting a rescue dog, maybe a kid someday, surrogacy dreams sketched on napkins. Elmwood's Pride Picnic, small but spirited, rainbow cakes, Drag story hour for the library. We volunteered, flipping burgers, Brandon's laugh booming as a queen read and tango makes three. Yet climax whispered in the winds. A job offer for me, big firm in Chicago. Renovation lead, the email read. Relocation optional, but preferred. Temptation tugged. City lights, bigger pay, escape from small-town stares. Brought it to Brandon over ice cream at the parlor. Cones dripping. What do you think? His spoon paused. Ice searching. Think? Hell, Ben, that's your shot. But us. Long distance, locks from afar don't hold. Conflict crested gentle, not storm. Nights debating, pros of city pulse, cons of severed roots. Elmwood's home, he said, voice cracking. But if it's yours, it's ours, I countered. Turned it down. Email sent. Grateful, but staying put. The firm countered with remote consults, compromise, American ingenuity. Fall leaves turned. Anniversary nearing. We retraced that first night. Rain simulated with a hose, beers cracked, stories retold. The bond, stronger, tempered by fires. Humanistic end. No perfection, just persistence. Two men building a life, bolt by honest bolt. The decision to stay settled like good mortar, solidifying our foundation. But life, in its American sprawl, always throws curveballs. November brought one wrapped in flannel and a shy smile. Tommy, Brandon's apprentice at the shop, 19 and green as new oil. Kid had potential, quick with a torque wrench, but eyes shadowed, like he'd seen too much mileage for his years. Nephew of the old owner, Brandon explained over dinner, fork spearing meatloaf. Family fell apart after the sale. Thought he'd straighten here. I nodded, but watched close. Tommy hovered, eager but edged, crashing on Brandon's couch after shifts when his mom's trailer flooded. One evening, grease-smeared and quiet, he cornered me in the garage. Mister. Hey's Ben, you and Uncle Bran. It's cool. You know? Wish my dad got that. Got what? I asked, wiping hands on rag. That love ain't straight lines only. His voice dropped. Dad caught me with a guy last year. Kicked me out. Said I was broken. Gut punch echo of Brandon's youth. My own buried doubts. You're not broken, Tommy. Just bent different. Shop's family. Lean on it. He nodded. Tears smudged. And from then, he bloomed. Jokes with customers. Steady hands on lifts. We mentored tandem. I teaching woodworking for side gigs. Brandon engines. Elmwood noticed. The diner buzz shifting. Those Hayeswit boys. Turning that kid around. Holiday season ramped. Shop decked with tinsel. Air humming jingle bells from a tinny speaker. We hosted a crew party, mulled cider. Secret Santa. Tommy gifting Brandon a hand-carved wrench handle. Eyes bright. Thanks for the fix, he said, hugging quick. But betrayal specter, ever the uninvited guest, slunk in via mail. A package for Brandon, no return address, contents spilling like bile. Photos from our lake day, cropped to suggest indiscretion. A note in Derek's scrawl. See? He cheats. Come home. Brandon's face ashen, crumpling the Polaroids. Bastard. Hired a PI? After all this, rage boiled, but I reined it, pulling him to the table. He's desperate, grasping. Means we're winning. called the cops Detective Ruiz, a no-nonsense Latina with a dry wit, who'd handled the break-in. Harassment, she confirmed. Filing. Stay vigilant. Tommy, overhearing, piped up. I saw a guy lurking last week. Sunglasses. Notepad. Took his plate. Ran it for you? Kid's initiative disarmed, leading to Derek's cousin loose end snipped. But the incident cracked us temporary. Brandon withdrawing. Nights on the couch. Can't let him touch you too. Fought fair. Words weapons sheathed. He already did by making you doubt. Therapy helped. Sessions unpacking paranoia. Trust rebuilt like a transmission, part by part. Winter broke with a bang. Valentine's. Elmwood's Chocolate Festival. We entered a pie contest. My cherry lattice versus his pecan. Judges tying us for most heart. Laughed till sides ached. Feeding each other bites under booth awnings. Chocolate smudged like kisses. Spring unfurled. Dogwoods preaching resurrection. We adopted Milo. Mutt with one ear. Boundless zoom eyes. Walks along the river becoming ritual. His leash the thread binding our steps. Tommy moved into an apartment. Part-time college. Waving from his beater truck. Oh, you guys. Conflict deepened with my family. Sister Claire. Visiting from Denver. Dinner at our place. Lasagna steaming. Milo underfoot. She eyed the rings. Direct as Colorado sky. Ben. Mom asks about grandkids. This? This is it, I said. Brandon's hand under the table steel. Love, Claire. Full stop. She softened over wine. Stories flowing, her divorce, our childhood antics. He's happy. Sis. That's the win. Hank and Eleanor Skype too. Progress pixelated but real. Looking good. Boys. Send pie recipe. Summer heat baked secrets out. Town pool crowded with splashes and sunscreen. We coached Tommy's rec league softball. Kids swinging wild. One game. A father's slur from the bleachers. Fairy coaches? Brandon froze. But I stepped up. Voice calm. Play ball. Sir. Words like that. Foul. Applause followed the out. Team high-fiving. After. Beers with parents. Bridges mending. Sorry, the dad muttered later. Heat talking. Humanism in action. Grace extended. Not demanded. Climax loomed in August. A storm. Literal and figurative. Derecho winds howled. Tearing roofs. Flooding basements. Shop took a hit. Bay door buckled. Tools scattered. My crew mobilized. Chainsaws humming. Tarps flapping. Brandon and I worked side by side. Mud-caked. Adrenaline sharp. Mid-chaos. Power out. His phone lit a call. Derek. Slurring from a bar. Storm's sign. Wit. End times for your freak show. Rage snapped. Brandon grabbed keys. Gonna end this. I blocked. Rain sheeting. Not like this. We're better. Argued in the truck cab. Lightning cracking. He poisons everything. Tears mixed with rain. Then we vaccinate with us. Pulled him close. Kiss fierce against the gale. Together. Storm passed. Derek blocked for good, restraining order. Courtesy Ruiz. Cleanup bonded us tighter. Volunteers pouring in. Elmwood's spirit unbowed. Fall harvest moon. We hiked the ridge. Anniversary gift. Backpack with wine. Summit view. Town twinkling. River silver. To storms survived. Brandon toasted, arms around me. And those to come, I added. Love's arc. Not straight triumph, but winding path, humanistic in its honest bends. Autumn's palette deepened. Elmwood's fairs and festivals a whirlwind of cotton candy and country tunes. We dove in, volunteering at the harvest dance, booths for cider pressing, hayrides under harvest moon. Brandon in plaid, me in denim, we two-stepped awkward but joyful to Garth Brooks, laughter bubbling as feet tangled. Tommy brought a date, timid artist from art class, hand held tentative. Thanks for the nudge, he whispered, and we beamed, surrogate pride swelling. But under the revelry, undercurrents swirled. My back acted up, old construction injury flaring, mornings stiff as starched collars. Brandon noticed, massages turning ritual, his hands mapping pain points with care. Rest, fixer. Can't mend if you're splintered. Went to doc, PT prescribed. But the scare stirred mortality talks. Late nights with Milo snoring at our feet. Kids, Brandon ventured, voice soft. If we want. Dream sketched. Fostering first, then adoption. A family patched from fragments. Researched agencies. Hearts hopeful but daunted. LGBTQ hurdles in Ohio. Paperwork mountains. Worth the climb, I said, kissing his temple. Winter whispered early snows, blanketing plans in white. Holidays amplified, joint trip to Erie. Hank stronger, carving turkey with shaky but sure hands. To the boys, he toasted, Eleanor tearing up. Back home, tree trimmed with ornaments from thrift shops, each bauble a story, our life in glass. New Year, we set intentions. Family file opened, therapy for parenting prep. But betrayal's echo resounded in spring. A leaked email from the firm I'd turned down, circulated anonymously. Hayes passes on Chicago for personal reasons. Small-town ties? Gossip mill ground. Clients whispering. Heard Ben's shacked up. That's why. Hurt lanced. But Brandon rallied. They're jealous. We know truth. Confronted the leaker ex-crew guy. Bitter layoff and it stopped. But damage lingered. Trust in community chipped. Summer brought balm. County Fair, where we entered the pie contest again. Winning blue for best duo effort. Celebrated with funnel cakes. Grease-dripped kisses. Milo in a bandana tail wagging. Deeper conflict brewed with finances. Shops rebound slow. My Reno bids competitive. Late bills piled. Stress etching lines. One night, argument flared over checkbook. Cut the therapy? It's draining. Cut the doubt, Brandon shot back. Money's tool. Love's the build. Storm passed quick. Apologies in dawn light. Budget reworked with grace. Climax built in July heat. A foster placement inquiry. Tommy, now steady, referred us. You guys? Perfect dads. Home study came. Social worker probing. Pasts dissected. Derek's shadow scrutinized. History of violence? She asked. Report in hand. Brandon paled. Self-defense. But yeah, mess. Cleared. But raw. Placement. Little Jamie, 5, wide-eyed from group home, clutching a bear. First night, his terror meltdown, screams echoing, us tag-teaming hugs and stories. Dawn, curled between us, he slept, small hand in mine. Joy crashed against fear, court dates, biomom's relapse, uncertainty thick. One hearing. Judge stern. Stability key. Prove it. We did school runs. Park picnics. Therapy circles. But betrayal struck cruel. Jamie's uncle. Custody challenger. Unearthed Derek's drama. Painting us unstable queers. Hearing climax tense. Courtroom air heavy. Our lawyer fierce. Love transcends labels. Evidence. Thriving child. Committed home. Judge ruled our way. Gavel like grace. Uncle slunk. Jamie ours temporary path to permanent. Fall leaves celebrated. Park walks with Jamie giggling. Milo hurting. Bond tripled. Humanistic tapestry woven. 3 souls. Mending mutual. Thanksgiving. Table full Tommy. Claire. Hank via Zoom. Toasts to family found. Night. Jamie asleep. Brandon whispered. Our lock held. Always will, I replied. Heart full. Winter wrapped us gentle. Jamie's wonder at snowflakes a daily miracle. Tongue out. Mittens soaked. We built forts. Hot cocoa steaming. Brandon's stories of Pennsylvania winters lulling him. School started. Kindergarten chaos. Crayons. Parent nights where we held hands unblinking. Stairs sliding off like sleet. Elmwood embraced slow. Teachers nodding. Playdates with neighbors' kids. Uncle Tommy fixing bikes. But undercurrents tugged. Jamie's questions. Where's my old mommy? Answered honest. Age soft. She loves you. But can't now. We do. Forever. Spring bloomed questions deeper. Therapy unpacking his loss. Our gains fragile. One meltdown. He lashed. You're not real dads. Door slammed. Hearts cracked. Huddled in kitchen. Brandon's head in hands. Failing him already? No, I said. Fierce. Hurting. But healing. Called the worker. Adjusted books on families diverse. Art therapy where he drew us as superheroes. Summer camp for Jamie. Us volunteering counselors, canoes on the lake. Esmores sing-alongs. There. Met other families. Gay dads from Akron. Trans mom from Toledo. Mosaic of Midwest resilience. Bonds formed. Support net cast wide. Conflict peaked in August, Biomom's appeal. Lawyer citing unconventional home. Court again. Jamie's guardian ad litem testifying. Thriving. Attached. Our words. He's our son. Labels be damned. Ruling. Adoption greenlit. 6 months probation. Elation tempered caution. But we celebrated ice cream parade down Main. Milo leading with a cone mustache. Fall harvest. Permanent papers signed. Courthouse steps our altar. Jamie Hayes Whitaker. Official. Bear tucked under arm. Town picnic honored. Cake iced family fixed. Cheers thundering. Yet humanism's depth. Hank's visit. First in Elmwood. Awkward at first, gruff with Jamie. Call me Gramps. But fishing trips thawed. Stories shared. You boys did good, he admitted over coffee. Derek? A footnote, jailed for stalking elsewhere. Karma's quiet justice. Winter solstice. Tree lit. Jamie hanging the star. Best family, he declared, hugging legs. We nodded, eyes meeting over his head, journey from broken lock to unbreakable home. Years blurred. Jamie's graduations, Tommy's wedding to that artist. Rings exchanged under oaks. Shop expanded with a cafe wing. We aged graceful, gray at temples, hands lined but linked. On our 10th stormiversary, porch swing creaking, Milo gray-muzzled at feet. Jamie Teamtall raiding the fridge. To honesty, Brandon toasted. Bourbon warm. To bonds, I added. Kiss lingering. Elmwood spun eternal. America vast. But our corner? A testament. Love mends. Betrays. Endures not perfect. Profoundly human. In the heartland's quiet beat, we fixed what mattered most.